Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies from wherever you are. Thank you for taking time to go through this video. Now, this video is for both Group 1 and Group 2, and it's mainly to guide you through the assignment so that you can be able to do it seamlessly. I'll be able to share, I want to share my screen so that you can be able to see the screens that we have done so far. So your point of reference is this video as well as the notes. And these are the notes that we were able to share with you. We are done with the user interface, and we are going to work with the screen, that is the appointment screen and the make appointment screen, so that we finish the backend development or their blocks, or rather we finish their blocks. So we're able to finish the screen 1 blocks. We were able to also finish the sign up and also the login. And we have some explanation here that you can take some time to have a look at. We have also finished the dashboard screen. So we are going now to look at the make appointment screen and also the appointment screen blocks. So I'm going to my Codula. Now, before we do anything, I'm going to start with make appointment screen. So we'll check the designer. The designer, please make sure that it tallies with the notes. And what do I mean? You have the sent appointment to this form title. You have you have a space, hairstyle input, which is a text box. And then there is a space in between. The appointment date, which is a date picker, a space for appointment time, and then extra description input, and the make appointment button. And all of these buttons are inside the vertical scroll arrangement, You can either put in the vertical, if you put in the vertical arrangement, make sure that your screen is scrollable. The scrollable is checked. But if you put the vertical scroll arrangement, that is still fine. So this is the interface that we are working with. This is the user interface that we are working with. Another non-visible component that I want you guys to make sure that you have is the TinyDB1 and the Firebase database 1. Now, by default, the Firebase URL is nothing. You have nothing here by default. You have no Firebase URL. And probably your project bucket is not similar to mine. Maybe it's Salon Smart. Just leave it as it is. Now, before you do anything in this screen, go to your Firebase, go to your Firebase database. And this is why we created the Firebase database. So I'll just type here, Firebase console, and then click on the first option. Of course, there is https console.firebase.google.com. I'll click on it. And then I will log in with the correct Gmail account that I used for the project. So there is that Smart Salon there. And when you open that project, go to real-time database. It's at the side menu. In case you're using a tablet, your screen might be small. Let me just minimize it a little. Your screen might be small like this. You can click there and choose real-time database. But if you're using something like a machine like me, you'll just find it at the side menu, real-time database. Click on it. There is this URL that is here. There is this URL that is here. Don't touch anything. Make sure that at the rules, I didn't edit my rules in purpose, so that I want you guys to make sure that you have the correct rules. Replace this now here to true, so that you have read full colon true without quotation mark and a comma, and also write should be true. And then I'll delete these extra comments because I don't need them, but you can leave them as they are. And then I'll click on publish. Now, come to the data tab, and in the data tab, copy this URL here. Copy this URL, right click and copy. After you've copied this URL, now let's go back to our Codula. Make sure that you've copied the URL that is there. Let's go back to our Codula and then click on Firebase database 1 of the make appointment screen. Click at the Firebase URL and paste, but use the shortcut. You cannot right click and paste here. Use the shortcut key Control V, Control plus V. You press them all together. You press Control first and V, it will paste the Firebase URL. After you've pasted the Firebase URL, don't change the project bucket, just leave it as it is. Leave it as the project, as your project name. Don't tamper with it. Mine is Salon, yours might be Smart Salon, just leave it as it is. Now let's go to the appointments. Click on the appointment screen, navigate to the appointment screens, and then click on the Firebase database as well. By default, you find that you don't have Firebase URL, or it's written default as the, like that, default. Also in the other screen, you might find that it's written default. So replace that with the URL that you just copied, because these two screens are interlinked and they are using the same project, or the Firebase database is, we are using the same project all through the screen. Great. Now, let us go to the make appointment screen and start making or creating the backend for this. So the non-visible component, make sure that you have the Firebase database, the notifier, and the clock. Yeah, make sure that you have all the blocks. If you can't, search for them from here. Great. So let's go to the blocks section. So the first thing that you're going to do in this screen is we're going to create what we call variables. And as we said previously, variables are storage containers that your program is going to use temporarily to create or to perform some actions. So you're going to create variables. I'll click on variables and choose a name like that. So I'm going to start with the has errors that will check, will be our flag. Has errors. It's very similar to what we did in the sign up page. So has errors, we are going to set it to true this time so that we reverse it to false whenever everything is okay. And then we are going to click on variables again and choose initialize global. So we are going to use email and leave it as blank like that. So this email is going to hold the email or the account, the user account, the one that we created before. The one that we created before here as a login page, we created an account here, logged in user, and removed that, segmented the text. So that is what we are going to use in the email. So let me go back to the make appointment screen. So initialize global email to blank. I'll duplicate this. And then I'll change this to extra description. TXT, extra description, TXT. Great. I'll duplicate it again. And then after extra description, you have appointment time. That will collect the time picker. So from the time picker, so it's appointment time.txt. Duplicate this again. We say appointment date, txt. And then hairstyle, we're going to duplicate this and have hairstyle txt. Txt is just as text, just naming variables, and then duplicate this finally and have salon name. So you have salon name, of course. It will depend with the salon that you've clicked in the dashboard screen. If maybe you've clicked New Style Beauty Parlor, it has stored some data in the salon. So that's what we are going to put as the salon name. Then the hairstyle is the hairstyle that the user is going to input from here. The hairstyle that the user is going to input from the text box of the hairstyle input. Yeah, then appointment date and appointment time and extra description. Extra description, you're going to collect this and put them in these variables. Now, after all the variables, after you've created all the variables, we are going to create a menu. We're going to create a menu because menu is one of the non-visible components that you're going to use. So you'll click on the make appointment screen like that, and then choose when make appointment dot menu initialize. Please don't choose initialize. Choose when make appointment dot menu initialize. Drag and drop there, and then choose click on the make appointment again and scroll below and choose call make appointment dot add title bar icon. Call make appointment dot add title bar icon and put it there. Now, after you've put there, put a blank text bubble. The moment you just type text anywhere in the screen, you can be able to put a text bubble, or you can just go directly to text and drag and drop the text bubble like that. Now in the icon is the one that we used here in the assets. As when I hover on it, you can be able to see a tooltip there, calendar-day-solid.png. That's exactly what you're supposed to put. If you don't put like that, the icon won't show and you will have errors. So I'll be able to type here in the icon, calendar-day-solid.png, like that. And then for the name, I can just put my appointments. Like that. And then that is when menu is initialized. And what happens if that title bar icon is clicked? We're doing something very similar to what we are doing in the other screen. So I'll click on when make appointment dot title bar icon selected. When make appointment dot title bar icon selected. Here, when make appointment dot title bar icon selected. Drag it and drop it in your screen, and then you can choose set a global salon name. Of course, this one depends with which. Of course, the icon that we've only put there is the calendar day solid. So, and we've named it as my appointment. So we can identify it by name. You can either use identify it by icon or by name because you have the parameters here, but we can just use name. Great. So we'll drag an if at the control section. We'll drag an if at the control section and put it inside there. We can say if, then click on text and choose compare text. Compare text, and then get name. Hover on get name, you'll be able to see get and set. So hover on name, choose get, and put it in your screen here in the first option, and then change the less than sign to be equal sign. So we're saying if get name is this my appointment, so duplicate it for accuracy. Duplicate my appointment for accuracy and put there, and say if name equals my appointment, then open another screen name. So I'll click here and choose open another screen name and put it there. And the screen name that you're going to open it, because we're putting this at the title bar, it will appear here at the title bar here. So make appointment, there'll be an additional icon there with a calendar day solid, so that when someone clicks here, they go straight to the appointments list. Okay, so I'll come to the blocks again. So the screen name, we can put a blank text bubble like this. And then we confirm what is the screen name, how you've named your screen. Mine is appointments, all small letters with an S. So yours might be, let's say, capital A. Use the way you've named your screen, the way you've named your appointments screen. So I'll put mine exactly as I'm seeing there. So appointments, like that, appointments. Great. So, and we are done with that. Now, we are going to another code in which when this screen is initialized, when we are in the dashboard, you are either, let's say, celebrity salon, let's say you're in the new style beauty parlor. The moment you click on that button, it stores some data in the Firebase, in the TinyDB database. Let's go to the dashboard. We've said that, for example, when Salon BTN2 is clicked, or any of this button is clicked, it stores a value in the Tiny database of tag salon name. And the value to store, of course, is the name of that salon that you have clicked. And then it goes to that make appointment screen that we are working on. So we are going to fetch this now from the Tiny database when that screen has initialized. So let's go back to the make appointment. So we'll click on the screen again and choose this time when make appointment dot initialize, not dot menu initialize. We are done with dot menu initialize. So now we are choosing when make appointment dot initialize. That is when the screen is starting. We'll drop it there after, and then we can set now the salon name. Okay, we set the salon name. Of course, salon name is what is one of the variables that we've created here at the top. The salon name. So let's set that. We click on the variables and choose set like that, and then set salon name. Set salon name to, now we go to TinyDB, click on TinyDB. In case you don't see TinyDB here, it means you've not dragged it to the designer. So you can just quickly go back to the designer, search at the palette and drag the TinyDB. So click on TinyDB1 and then choose call TinyDB1.getValue, put there. The tag is salon name. It should be exactly the way you called the tag here at the dashboard screen. We have the tag here, salon name. I just like copying for accuracy so that I don't make errors. So I'll copy that and then I'll go to the make appointment screen. The tag, I'll put a blank text bubble here and paste there like that. The tag is salon name, and then value if not there, I'll leave it as blank. Then I'm also going to set global email. I'm also going to set global email. So I'll click on variables, choose set, put it there, and then choose email, okay? Global email. And then we are going to set this as logged in user. We created a logged in user and removed that dot in the email, so that we can use this to store our value in the Firebase database. So I'll drag this, drop it there, and then I'll go copy for accuracy reasons. I'll go to the login screen and then make sure that I copy that so that I'm as accurate as possible. So I'll copy it and then I'll go to the make appointment screen and then I will paste it there. I'll paste it there so that we have logged in user like that. So global email is logged in user. So we're not going to put it directly the way I've put mine. First of all, you'll come to the TinyDB1 and then choose call TinyDB1.getValue because we stored it in the TinyDB. Don't put it directly the way I've done before. So it's called TinyDB1.getValue tag logged in user. And then after everything is clear, we now set the form title text. When we come to the designer, this text is Salon X. Let us change that Salon X to the exact name of the salon that is in the tag salon name. So I'll come back to the blocks and then choose global and then click on form title here. Click like that and then scroll down and we're going to choose set form title dot text to the one with an opening with an open socket like that. We're going to put it after there and then we are going to use a join in the text group. So click in the text, choose a join like that, put it there, and then we are going to put some values there. So this join, I'm going to extend it twice like that, once, so that it has 3 options. And then I'm going to put some text here, some blank text bubble first in the first section. And then I'll write here, send appointment to, then I'll put a full colon, and then I'll open a HTML break tag. We'll learn more about this when we work with HTML and CSS, in case you have no idea about HTML and CSS. So this is the opening break tag. You use angle brackets, angle brackets, and put the B tag. And then here, we are going to use the salon name. Yeah, we are going to use the salon name. That's what we want. That's the value that we want it to be in bold. So we'll click on variables and choose get and click there at the drop down and choose salon name like that. So it's send appointments to, then you open a breaking tag and put global salon name, and let's close that breaking tag by putting a blank text bubble like that and close a breaking tag. So it's angle bracket / B and angle bracket like that. And you are done with that. When that screen is initialized, it's going to fetch some values from the Tiny database and put them in the variables the way we are required. And the first value, of course, is the salon name, depending on what the user has clicked. And then the logged in user, the value that we are going to store, the email that we've removed the dot from the login page, we are going to assign it to global email. And this is the one that you're going to use to store value in our Firebase database. And then the form title, we change it depending on the salon name that the user has clicked. We are done with the initialize part. Now, let's create a method that will also be there to validate input. It's very similar to what we were doing in the sign up page. So this is how we go about it. We click on procedures. You click on procedures and then choose the to procedure like that. Choose the to procedure like that. And in this procedure, we'll name it as validate input. Validate input. And then we'll click on this setting icon, drag and drop two inputs like that so that it has two parameters. So the first parameter, we are going to call it input value, very similar to what we are doing in the other page. And then this one will call it input name, like that. Input value and input name. And then we're going to go to get an if, put it there. We'll come to the text and choose the is empty. If is empty, hover on input value and choose get. So if input value is empty, then we are going to call notifier one. I'll scroll down, click notifier and choose call notifier one dot show alert notice. So scroll down is a little bit after the dismiss progress dialog. Call notifier one dot show alert notice, put there and put a blank text bubble like that. So we're not putting, before we put that, we'll go to the join in the text group. Go to the join and put in the text group and choose join, put there, extend it once. Yes, and then click for it to disappear. And then in the first bubble, we are going to say field, then a space, field, and then a space. Hover on input name and choose get input name, put it there. And then you're going to choose a blank text bubble, put it there. Click like that, press a space bar, and then say should not be empty. Great. And then after you've done that, we are going to get another if and put it below here. Because we're handling a lot of parameters, so it's really good for us to check if has errors equals to false first. So you'll get an if like that and put it after again, and then say if get global has errors. So we are going to choose as a logic, this equal sign as the logic, put there and go to the variables and choose get. And then you can say if get global has errors, make sure you select the correct one. If get global has errors equals false, okay? If it is equals false, like that, then you can say, click on variables again and choose set, like that. And then we can click on the drop down like that and choose has errors, and we can set it to true. Yeah. So if it is false, you set it to true. In case any field is empty and has errors is false, we set it to true. Great. And we are done with that block. We are done with this block. And this, we are going to use it when you're storing data in the Firebase database. Great. Now let us make sure here at the designer section, we handle the set appointment date and set appointment time. Let us handle this so that when someone clicks on set appointment date, it will show a date picker. When they select that date, it stores that date in the variable, as well as renaming this to the date that the user has selected instead of it just being select appointment date. So let's go to the block section, and we are going to click on when appointment date is one of the blocks that we dragged here. There, when appointment date, click there and choose when appointment date dot after date set. After the user has selected the date that they want to book the appointment, what should happen? So it's when appointment date dot after date set. So we set the variable first before we change the text. So we come to the variables and choose set, put it there, click on the drop down and choose global appointment date. they are very similar. So be very careful and select the correct one. So it's global appointment date. Set global appointment date to. We are going to join a couple of texts because we have the year, the month, and the day, and so on. So we are going to choose the join, put there, and extend it about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Okay, so we already have 2 here. So let's add 3 string bubbles here so that we have 5 of them. So in the first join, we are going to click on appointment date, and scroll down and choose appointment date.day. Appointment date.day. So scroll down and choose appointment date.day. It is somewhere. Appointment date.day. Yeah, here it is. Appointment date.day. Put it there. And then we are going to put a blank text bubble here and put a / so that our date is day, like that. And then we're going to put appointment month. So another shortcut or another trick that I can show you is click on that appointment date, duplicate, and click on that drop down and choose month instead of us going and dragging and dropping again. So appointment date.month, and then we can duplicate this and then duplicate this again and click on the drop down and select year. So it's appointment date.year and put it like that. So that will be our appointment date. When the user selects the day, month, and year, it's going to be put in the appointment date variable. Great. After that, we are going to change the text of this appointment date because the initial text is select appointment date. We are going to change that to the date that has been selected. How do we do that? We come to the variable section here, appointment date, and then choose set appointment date dot text. Set appointment date dot text to the one with an opening socket and put it there. So you can fix it again and it enters, and then we can say get global appointment date, the one that we've just created. So we'll come here at the variables and choose get and put there and select get global appointment date txt. Fantastic. So we have set the appointment date to the correct date that the user has selected and change the text. So we're going to do the same for time. We're going to do the same for time before we handle the Firebase and so on. So let's do the same for time. We come here below and click appointment time, which is the time picker. We choose when appointment time dot after time set. Please make sure that you use the correct one here. This is the global appointment date, should be global appointment date. Sometimes you might confuse. So we are at time when appointment time dot after date set. Okay, there are 2 scenarios. The time might be, let's say the system knows the 24-hour clock system. The system knows the 24-hour clock system. Like my clock is also in 24-hour clock system, but some users prefer to have a clock in the AM PM system. So this is a learning point for us to be able to handle such tasks in the appointment time, so that if the time is past, let's say 12, that is 13 hours, 1300 hours, 1400 hours there, we change it to PM. And if it is less than 12, we change it to AM. How do we do that? We get an if, very simple. We get an if at the control section, put it there. And then we'll say, we come to the math and choose greater than sign. You can just choose this equal sign and we're going to change that to greater than sign. Put it in the first section there. So what are we saying? If appointment time dot hour, let's come to the appointment time like that and choose appointment time dot hour. Here it is, appointment time dot hour. So if appointment time dot hour is greater than, choose the greater than sign. If appointment time dot hour is greater than, then come back to the math section again, choose that 0, this one, put it there and say if it is greater than 12. If appointment time dot hour is greater than 12, please use the math one. If you use the blank text bubble, it won't even comply. So you choose the math one, this one, 0, and change it to 12. So if it is greater than 12, then what should happen? You set global appointment time. Click on variables and choose set and choose appointment time. Make sure it's appointment time. Set global appointment time.txt to. Let us choose a join text like that. Extend it so that it has 4 parameters. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. So in the first join, we are going to choose a math again so that we do some subtraction here. Subtraction block, and then choose appointment time.hour. We can just duplicate this. Appointment time.hour, put there, and then minus 12. So we can just also duplicate this 12 like that, so that we are minusing it with 12. So if appointment time.hour is greater than 12, we subtract appointment time.hour, we subtract it to 12, and then we're going to put a blank text bubble like that, and then put a space and a full colon. We can just put a full colon like that. And then we can duplicate this appointment hour so that we select the appointment minute like that. Put there and select the appointment minute. There's no need of us going and dragging and dropping it again. And then you can put a blank text bubble like that. And then press a space and write AM. So we've converted that time to AM, to PM, sorry. This is PM actually, because it is time in, it is PM, it's over 12, past 12, so it is PM. So it's set global appointment time.text to appointment.hour minus 12, then appointment time.minute and PM, kindly PM, okay? Now, we are going to extend this if to have an else. So click at the setting icon, put an else there. And then here, we can duplicate this. We can duplicate this, put it there, but you're going to change a few things. First of all, remove this, put it on the side, put appointment time.hour directly like that, and then delete this subtraction block. And then we are going to change this PM to AM. AM like that. So you're going to put appointment time.hour directly and choose AM. Great. So we've done our small conversion there. And then we do the final thing. We set appointment time.text. We change the text to become the time that the user has selected. So we scroll down and choose appointment time and choose appointment time.text, which is an open socket. This one, set appointment time.text. We can put it here below at extreme bottom, and then we set it, we set it to the global appointment time.txt. So we choose the get, put it there, and choose global appointment time.txt. Now we are done with setting date and time. We are done with setting date and time. So we're going to create another procedure that is going to reset the form. What do we mean? We've not started handling the click button. This has quite a number of blocks, so just follow through. We have done already so much. We have done so much blocks. We've created variables. When menu initialize and title bar selected, then we have the make appointment.initialize, done some things there and created the validate input, and appointment time.after date set and after time set of the appointment time. Now, let us work on resetting the form. We create a method that we reset the form. What do we mean? At the designer section, when a user has inputted something like appointment time, they've inputted the appointment date and everything, and then they click on submit. When they click on that submit, we want to ensure that we've cleared the data. We've cleared everything in the form so that when you come back to this form and work on it, you do not have the data that you inputted in the previous time. So we can create a small method here or a procedure to do that. So you can click on the procedure and choose to procedure do, the first option. And this procedure, we're just going to rename it as reset form. And it does not have any parameters. Reset form. It doesn't have any parameters. So after we choose the reset form, we can start with a hairstyle input. We put all this, okay? So we come here below and choose a hairstyle input, because that's of course the first one. We choose set hairstyle input text to blank. We clear it. So set hairstyle input dot text to, put in there, and then choose a blank text bubble. Put a blank text bubble like that. That is for hairstyle input. Let us choose for the extra description. I'm going to duplicate this and then click on the drop down and choose extra description input. Extra description input.text, we leave it as blank. Now, let us go to appointment time and date and set them to the initial values. So we come to appointment date, click on appointment date and choose set appointment date dot text. Set appointment date dot text to the one with an open socket like that, and then put a blank text bubble to it. And then we click on appointment time and choose set appointment time dot text to, like that. Put it below there and put a blank text bubble to it. And then let's change the values now. For the appointment date, it was the initial value was select appointment date, like that. And for appointment time, it was select appointment time. Great. Now let us empty the variables. We've emptied the text fields. Let us also make sure that we empty the variables as well. So we come here to variables and then choose sets. Now we can just choose one and duplicate because they're alike. So we start with appointment date. We can start with even hairstyle input, but let's start with let's start with hairstyle input. So it's hairstyle txt. We set it to blank. Then after that, we set appointment date. So we can duplicate this. Appointment date to blank. Duplicate this, set appointment time to blank. Duplicate this again, and then set the extra description input to blank. Like that. The order does not matter. Let me just point that out. The order does not matter as long as you've cleared all the required inputs. Fantastic. And then finally, before we handle the click button, we'll handle the Firebase when Firebase has error. So we'll click there and say when Firebase database 1.firebase error, we put there, and then we can click on notifier, scroll down and choose call notifier 1.show alert notice, put there, and then we just get the message. Hover on message and choose get message. Message is there. Hover on it and put it there. Okay, we are done with all the prerequisites of what we are doing this before we handle the click button. We are done with all the prerequisites before we handle the click button. So let us handle the when that button is clicked. When make appointment button is clicked, what should happen? Click on when make appointment button and scroll at the top and choose when make appointment button dot click. Arrange it nicely in your screen. When make appointment button is clicked, what do you do? First of all, we have two inputs. The one which has hairstyle input and the extra description. That is the one that we set the variables first, because the appointment date and appointment time we've set there at the top earlier. We set them at the top earlier. So this is what we do. We click on the variables. We click on the variables like that and choose set. And then click on the drop down and choose hairstyle txt, hairstyle txt. And then we set it to hairstyle input.text. So we look for hairstyle input is here and choose hairstyle input.text there. Put it there. And then we can duplicate this because they are alike. We can duplicate this and choose the extra description text and put it to extra description input text. Select all the drop downs here. like that. So global extra description txt should be to global extra description input dot text. And this is why we were insisting that you rename the variables. The other variables, that is the variables like appointment date and appointment time, we have set them when the appointment date is set, uko juu. Even the appointment time you have already set when you click on appointment time dot text. We have clicked on set and we've made sure that we have set the variables at the top, and that's why we are not handling them here. You can just go back up a little bit. Yeah, we've already set the global appointment time there, and we've already set the global appointment date there, and even the salon name here, set global salon name. We've already set that. So at the click, we just set the hairstyle and the extra description. Those were the remaining two variables. Okay, let us proceed. Okay, now after that, we are going to put a progress dialog because we want to save some data and check for errors in case there are errors, in case the user has put errors. So we'll click on the notifier and choose call notifier1.show progress dialog. Call notifier1.show progress dialog. There it is. Call notifier1.show progress dialog. For the message, we are going to put making appointment. This is just a sentence or a message to the user. So you can write it the way you want. We are not restricting. So make appointment. And then in the text, you can say, please wait with 3 dots. Please wait. Okay, after that, we set global has errors to false first of all. So we come to the variables section and we set there global has errors to false. False is at the logic like that. Now, let us call the validate input now to make sure that we validate the input. In case the user has not inputted, let's say the hairstyle text, or they've not selected the appointment date and appointment time, it will throw some errors. It will throw some errors. So this is what we do. We come to procedures and choose validate input procedure, put it there. The first one is we start with global hairstyle. So we click on the variables and choose get, put there, or the drop down, we choose global hairstyle. The input name, we can just put hairstyle. So we put a blank text like that and say hairstyle. So that is there to check if the hairstyle is empty. I don't know if hairstyle has space in between, but anyway, hairstyle. We put hairstyle like that. I think it doesn't have a space. Yeah, hairstyle should not be empty like that. So that one, we validated the hairstyle. Let's validate the appointment date and appointment time. Those are the things that have to be selected. So you can click at the drop-down menu and choose date, and then you can say input appointment date like that. Appointment date. We can duplicate this and choose appointment type. Make sure that you select the correct items in the drop-down. This should be date, this should be time. It's good to counter check so that we do not have errors because we are dealing with a lot of blocks. So it is really good or important to counter check. So global appointment time.txt, then we change this to appointment time so that in case the user has not selected, they are warned by that method to make sure that they've selected the appointment time. Now, let's say everything is okay. They've selected everything correctly. We come to the control section, drag an if, like this. And then we are going to get from the logic the equal sign, and then from the variables, get. So you're saying if global has errors or the variable has errors is false, if that means the user has created everything according to the way the program is required. Now we are calling the Firebase database to store some value. So scroll down, you'll be able to see Firebase database and choose call Firebase database 1 dot store value. Call Firebase database 1 dot store value. Put there. And then for the tag, The tag is actually something that I'm going to explain in a short while, so that it stores your data according to the email of the user that the user that the person has logged in, or the logged in user. That's why you are creating the variable logged in user. So we scroll at the top, we take a join, put there the tag, and we extend this join once, like that. Now, here at the join, we will choose get global email because we set that to the logged in user, like that, global email. And then we are going to put a blank text bubble. And here, be keen and put a / appointment and a / appointments, actually with an S and a /. So it's going to store in the Firebase your unique details. It's going to store in the Firebase your unique details with the email of your unique details, then / appointments in a folder called appointments. That's why when you put a / it creates a subfolder in your Firebase called appointments. And then we are going to get a clock so that we know the exact time in which the user has created that appointment. So we click the clock and choose get mails. So call clock1.get mails. You'll be able to see it. This one, instant, so that it gets the instant time, like that. Call clock1.get millis, and then you choose call clock1.now. There. Okay, we're almost done. Now for value to store, we are going to store in the dictionary. So we're going to make dictionary. And I would really advise that you remember the dictionary values that you put. I would really advise that you remember the dictionary values that you put, because you're going to use them in the other screen. So I'll click here, choose make a dictionary, and then we have hairstyle, extra description, appointment date, appointment time, and salon name. We have 5 values. So we are going to extend this dictionary 5 times. So we'll put there 5 values like that. Now in this key, we are going to put blank text bubbles, duplicate, just duplicate, so that we can put them in the order that we would wish. So these are the values that you're going to use as well in the appointments when you are fetching data. Now in the key, we are going to put hairstyle. We are going to use the naming convention that I keep advising you to use. Hairstyle, like that. And then here we are going to put a extra description. The order does not matter, but you have to maintain it. Yeah, extra description. And then after extra description, we can say appointment date. Appointment date, appointment time, and then finally salon name. And then after you've put all this, we are now assigning them to variables, the value of the variables that we have. So you can just simply duplicate one variable, and in the hairstyle, you select hairstyle txt, duplicate this, make sure that they tally. So like there, it should be extra description, choose the extra description, duplicate that, appointment date at the drop down, appointment date, make sure they tally. You can please confirm so that we don't have errors. Appointment time, and then you can duplicate finally and choose salon name, like that. Now, after you've done that, we are going to dismiss the progress dialog and show alert notice, because this screen is done, just the final touches. So we'll click on notifier and choose call notifier1.dismiss progress dialog. First of all, there, put it after. Make sure that it's after this value to store. So it's dismiss progress dialog. Let me minimize a little bit. Okay, dismiss progress dialog, and then we'll call notifier1.show alert notice and say appointment created successfully, because it means the user has made everything successfully. Appointment created successfully. Perfect. And then we can now open, we can now call the reset form. How do we call the reset form? We come here at the method procedures and choose call reset form, put there so that it clears our form. And finally, we open another screen name so that it shows you the list of the appointments that you've made. You click open another screen name, put a text, and then in the text, make sure that you confirm again, don't assume. Mine is appointments, everything small letters. So confirm how you've written yours and make it to appointments. Like that, appointments. And then in case everything, let's say in case it has errors, you can just duplicate this dismiss progress dialog and put it now here at the end of the if block, outside the if block, after the if block. And here you will be done with this screen. Now, in the next session or in a few minutes, I'm going to start and explain to you the other screen, which is the appointments screen. Great. Now, after you are done with the make appointment screen, there are a couple of things that I would really want to make sure that you guys put at the back of your mind. That is in the make dictionary, make a dictionary, this hairstyle, extra description, appointment date, appointment time, and salon name, put them at the back of your mind in a way that when we go to the other screen, when you go to the other screen, the appointment screen, you are able to use the same exact values without spaces in front or before or after the text. So another thing is also the URL, the Firebase URL that we've put here, the tag, global email and appointments. This text, we want it to be exactly the same when we go to that appointment screen and fetch the dictionary. Great. So let us go to the appointments screen. Let us go to the appointment screen. And in the appointment screens at the designer, make sure that you have a vertical scroll arrangement renamed as vertical scroll arrangement. Align horizontal center, align vertical, leave it as it is. Width, height, you can leave it as it's automatic with fill parent. Ensure that you have a notifier as a non-visible component. Firebase database 1 to the correct URL that we talked about. We've said by default is default like that. It has nothing, but you use the Firebase database that we just copied from the Firebase database that we were using, and project bucket, leave it as it is. And then have TinyDB1. We have a dynamic card renamed to appointments list. We have a dynamic label referred to as Salon LBL, a dynamic space, and a web. Ensure that you have all these components before we go and start the appointment screen. And the appointment screen is actually the simplest one because it's just fetching data and populating it using and reusing the non-visible components. And that's why we are using this non-visible component. Great. Now, let me just share one particular section. Let me share my whiteboard so that I can be able to explain how this screen is going to look like. New share whiteboard. Great. Let me just stop sharing so that I make sure I am able to share the whiteboard. Now, in this screen, what you're going to do is we are going to have a card, okay? Okay, I think my drawing isn't that accurate, but just bear with me. You're going to have a card. This is a dynamic card that will only populate when we tell it to populate. And in this card, it has the salon name there. It has the salon name. So let me just type there, salon name. And this salon name is in the label. So you say salon name, full colon, then the name of the salon. For example, it's new style, like that. And then in the next line here, in the same card, we have the hairstyle, full colon. And then the hairstyle that the user wants to put, for example, is Abuja, or let's say braids, or lines, whichever, or dreads, like that. And then we have appointment date. So this appointment date and time, you're going to join them. Appointment date stroke time, full colon, and then we are going to put some user details. For example, the user has selected that they want it to be, let's say today, we will say 25/06/2021, and then at 10 p.m. AM, maybe AM. So, and it is in one line, of course, because the details are not going to be so many. And then we have the extra description. And the extra description, it can be, I don't want heat in my hair. I'm just giving as an example, I don't want heat in my hair. All this is in a card. Forgive my squiggly shape of the card, but all that is in a card. And this is how we are going to create this screen. You're going to have these dynamic labels. You're going to reuse these dynamic labels as many times as we have reused here. We're going to put in the dynamic label, salon name, full colon, put the hairstyle, the name of the salon. Then we reuse the same dynamic label to create the hairstyle and the details of the hairstyle, same as the appointment date and time and the extra description. And all this we are going to put in the dynamic card. That is one thing I would need you to note as we are working on this screen. It's going to be super easy because we are just reusing the components. Now, I will share again my Codula screen and we can proceed. Now, we're going to create variables here, and there are not so many. So let's go to the block section. There are not so many. We click on variables and choose ID. So we're going to create the initial variable called ID. And this one, you're going to set it to 0. Awesome, we put 0. And this ID, it's because when we use dynamic component multiple times, we have to assign it an identifier. If let's say it's the first card ever in that list, it has to have a unique ID, and that's why you're using that ID. And then we are going to use another variable called email, and then we put it to a blank text bubble like that. And then password, no password, sorry, all appointments, because you're fetching this data from the Firebase database. So you have to make sure that you put them in a dictionary called all appointments. So I'll delete that and then choose from the dictionary, create empty dictionary like that. So after that, we can duplicate this again and put a single appointment. Instead of all appointment, we say single appointments like that, and also create an empty dictionary. So this is how the data is going to be. Like the way we've saved our data in the make appointment screen, we have saved in single dictionary in a list of dictionaries. So when you fetch data from Firebase, it's coming as one main dictionary that you're going to split it into single dictionaries. And that's why we have here all appointments. At the appointment screen, we have all appointments and single appointments all set to empty dictionaries. Now, after that, we are going to choose when this screen has initialized to fetch some data from the Firebase database. Of course, at the beginning, you have nothing, but when you add something, it will always be fetching from the Firebase database. So we choose when appointments, please click on the appointments, not Firebase. When appointments.initialize, when that screen has initialized, what do? We call notifier 1. We click on notifier and choose call notifier and show progress dialog, because when you're fetching data, you have to make sure that everything is fetched and populated to the user before you cancel the progress dialog. So we choose call notifier 1.show progress dialog. Somewhere here, show progress dialog. There it is. Call notifier.show progress dialog. For the message, you are going to put fetching data, whichever way you want to address your users. And then you're going to put a text and say, please wait as the title. And then as we have done that, we have to set this email to global to the logged in user that we created in the login page as well, because that logged in user is the one who has the appointment, like who has the unique URL in the Firebase database. So we come and click on the variables and set like that. Set global email to, click on TinyDB1 and choose call TinyDB1.get value. For the tag, we can choose logged in user as the tag. For accuracy, I like just going to copy so that I make sure that I am really accurate. I'll right click and Control C and come to the appointment screen and paste. But if you are sure of the spellings, you can paste it correctly like that, logged in user as the tag. So that's the tag that you're going to use. So we have set the email to that tag. That is, for example, if let's say your email when you're signing up was, let's say, joanne@email.com, that dot has been removed so that our Firebase URL doesn't have errors. So my URL or the email here will be joanne@email.com. Great. Now, we're going to call Firebase DB1 and get the value of that URL, because we were storing in the previous screen, when we were making appointment, we were storing in a particular URL. So we're going to choose call Firebase DB1 or get value, put it there. And then for the tag, I'll delete this. I'll just delete this. For the tag, I'm going to use join here as a text. I'm going to use join. In this join, for the tag, you're going to use get global email, this one, the one that we've created here. And then you're going to add a blank text bubble like that, so that we get the folder in which we are saving our appointments. Also, I like to be very accurate, because when we are creating this data, we were saving it here as a make appointments, and there is this URL here. So I'll just copy this without the / ya mwisho, but let me just, you can copy the entire thing and delete it later. Come back to the appointment screen here and paste it there, so that it's global email / appointments. So it will get all the values that is after your email, the email that you as a specific user was saved in the Firebase database. Then if value is not there, we are going to just save, create an empty dictionary. It means a user, you've not saved anything in the database, or maybe you have had errors. Your name here does not tally. Great. Now, after that, we are going to create a simple method. Let me share again the whiteboard so that I explain what this method is for. So I'll share the whiteboard, and in this whiteboard, we have salon name here, and the new style, the new style and the new style text here. So we want this salon name as to become bold. Salon name to be bold, hairstyle to be bold, appointment date and time to be bold, and extra description to be bold. And then the text should just remain as it is. So that is what we want to do. So let me share again so that we can do that and create a small procedure to do that. So the procedure is going to be a bit different this time. You use the second one, to procedure result. It will directly return a result value. So here we are going to call this procedure format text, because it is going to bold for us the first section of the text. Click on this input, put there 2 values, okay? So that it has title, which will be the one which is in bold. Okay, I don't know why I'm writing there, but it's okay. You can write from there or from you can write either from here or you can write directly here. Okay, content like that. They will both auto change. Now, as a result, you're going to the text and choose join, put there and add 2 more parameters because we have a bold tag. And we learn about more on bold when we are learning about HTML. So we're going to put a blank text bubble because our title section is going to be bold, B, like that. And then we choose get title there. And then we end the break tag. So duplicate that and then add a / there so that it's angle bracket / B and that be keen as we are doing this so I can be able to do that. And then we hover on get content like that. So for you to accurately put your data, make sure that after that B you click a spacebar in your keyboard. Make sure that you click a spacebar in your keyboard so that you can be able to have, like, after the title, there is a space and then the content. And we are done with that method. So let us now populate details, or let us populate the data to the dynamic components when Firebase has gotten some value. So this is what we do. We click on when Firebase, we click on a Firebase database and choose when Firebase db1.got value, put it there. When Firebase db1.got value, you put it there. So it has tag and value. So the first thing that you're going to put here, we are going to put the value that it has gotten to the first variable, which is all appointments. We've created two variables, all appointments and get appointments. So we are going to put the value that the Firebase has gotten into all appointments before we break down and put into single appointments. So this is how we go about it. You come on the variables, choose set, put there, and choose global all appointments. We set it to value, the value that it has gotten, like that. Okay, and then from there we can just dismiss the progress dialog from here. So we click on notifier and choose call notifier1 dot dismiss progress dialog, dismiss progress dialog. And then from there we can now start formatting the value that all appointments has gotten. So the first thing that we want to do is we use a dynamic space. Let us use a dynamic space and put here at the top, because we don't want our appointments, to start at exactly at the top there. We want to put a space the way we were putting if we were dragging and dropping a physical space. But this is a learning point for you to know how to use dynamic components. So let's go to the blocks, and then we call a salon space. We have the salon space there as a dynamic space. Click on it and choose call salon space dot create space. Call salon space dot create space. Drag it and drop it after. This is actually going to be a very long block, but very easy to understand. So after you put there, we now use the ID. We put 1, and 1 is from the math. Drag there, put here, and write as 1. Okay. And the arrangement, where are we putting this dynamic space? We are going to put it in the vertical scroll arrangement. So click on the vertical scroll arrangement and put the last component, put there. Okay, that is where we are going to put our dynamic space. Now, let me hover here so that you understand what we are doing, so that you don't see that I'm just putting values. When I hover on this method, it is saying, is a tooltip that create a new space component dynamically, use for width, height, -1 for wrap content. If you want, let's say, the width or height to just be automatic, the way it was in the designer, you put -1 as the value. But if you want it to fill parent, to fill the entire width, you use -2. But if you want to put a particular value, you just put it normally. For example, 1, 2, 3, it will be the width or height of that value. So we are going to put a width. We don't care about the width, we care about the height more, because we want to push some items of the card below. Like we want to have a space at the top before the card. So for the width, we are going to put -1. So I'll click here at the math and scroll at the top, choose that 0, put there, and just put -1 for wrap content or automatic. Then for height, I'll just duplicate this so that I don't go and drag again. For height, we are going to put 20 pixels. So just write 20 like that. You're going to have 20 pixels. Great. Now, after you're done with this, we are now going to use a special component we call for each, a for each loop. So a for each is one of the components that you're going to use to loop through what we call maps. Even in programming, as you're going to advance your skills, of which I'm hoping that we shall advance your skills together here at Pony Techno Girls. So as you're going to use to advance your skills, you'll find things we call arrays. And it is stored in the way dictionary is stored. It has some keys, and values. So for you to loop through or go through each one of them and populate in this screen, we are going to use a special method we call for each. And this is how we are going to do. Click on the control and then scroll down. You're going to see a for each here. For each key with value in dictionary, it runs through given list of variables. And the variable that you're going to run through is all appointments, so that you populate each single appointments in the card as many times as you have added your appointments. That being said, drag that for each, put there. Okay. Now, for each key with value in dictionary, which dictionary is get global all appointments, as I have just said in a few minutes ago. So I'll click there and choose global all appointments. So what do? We now start setting values of single appointments. Okay. We now start setting values of single appointments, and then you're going to use that value to populate in the dynamic items that we have dragged. So we are going to choose from the variables, choose set, put there, and then global single appointments. So you're going to set it to list, click on the dictionaries, and then scroll down. You are going to be able to see list of pairs to dictionary pairs. You're now breaking the pairs, okay? List of pairs to dictionary pairs. List of pairs to dictionary pairs. Like that, put there. Let me scroll like this so that you can be able to see. Okay. And then this is where we are going to call web1. This is now where we are going to use the web1 because it's the only item that can be used here in Codula to decode a type of data we call JSON. Because in Firebase stores data in a format we call JSON format. So you can read more about JSON format and you'll be able to understand. But we might mention this in the coming section. So we'll say list pairs to dictionary pairs. So we'll click on web view and choose call web1.json text decode. Put it there. And then the JSON text that you're going to decode, let me minimize a little bit so that you know where I'm getting this. Hover on value of the for each. Hover on value of the for each and choose get value and put there so that it decodes the JSON format into dictionary pairs and put them in a single appointment. Great. So let me maximize again so that we continue. After we've done that, we are going to create a card view. Okay, we are going to create a card view. And that is a dynamic card view, of course. You're going to create a card view. So you click there and choose call appointment list dot create card view. In case you don't see card view, it means you've not selected the correct component. You go back to the designer and make sure that you select dynamic card and rename it to appointments list. So I'll drag this, drop it after there, create dynamic card view. So for ID, we are going to get key here, okay? We are going to get key for ID because we have keys and values stored in the Firebase database. So you're going to get key, and the arrangement, of course, you're going to put in the vertical scroll arrangement. We have started with putting a space. Now we are putting the cards now. We are putting the cards. So after that, the arrangement, you click on the vertical scroll like that, choose the last component, put there. For width, we are going to say that the width should be 90%. How do we put 90%? We come to mathematics here. It's a little small math. and choose the times, the what is it, multiplication or product. Yes, product is a more fancier word. Now for the width, we are going, the first value, if you want to put 90%, we put 0.9 times the vertical scroll arrangements width. So we click here, we choose math as the first value there, this one here, and say 0.9. And then in the remaining space, we say vertical scroll arrangement dot width, because the width of the vertical scroll arrangement is fill parent. So it takes 90% of that. So scroll down, you'll be able to see width, that one, without an opening, without an ending socket like that. And then for the height, we are going to give it as a wrap content, so that whichever content comes in, it's going to be wrapped, like it's automatic. So we are going to put a math value. We are going to put math here and choose -1, -1. So it's not something that you cram. These values are not something that you cram. When you just hover or even read the documentation, which is docs.codula.io, you can be able to see this. So you can use them as your point of reference. Great. Now, after that, we have created a card. Now let us put labels in that card. If you can remember that, the one that I shared, we created a card, and then inside there are labels with some data. So those are the labels that you are going to create, okay? So we are going to scroll down and put labels inside this card. So this is how we are going to do about it. Click on salon label and choose salon label dot create label and put it after. Okay. So for ID, we are going to get them from the math. We're going to get math. Click there and choose the addition sign. Choose the addition sign, and then we can duplicate this get key like that, and then say +1. Get key +1, so that this ID or this label is unique to a single appointment. So each appointment has a unique key. Let us understand that each appointment has a unique key. So the moment I say get key +1, it will create this label only dependent on the single appointment that has been fetched. So if you have, let's say, three appointments in your dictionary. So the first appointment has a different key. It will be get key +1. So it will be a different label from another card. So it is looping using the for each loop. So we say get key and then +1. So we come to the math, click there and choose this, and then say +1. So that is the first label in a card. Great. Now, after you've done that, the arrangement you now put in the card, in this card view, okay? In this card view of that specific key. So this is how we do it. You click on card view, appointment list, and then choose call appointment list to get card view by ID. Yes, call appointment list dot get card view by ID. You put it there, and then the ID, of course, is this key. Okay, it is this key. So you're putting this label inside the card view. Great. Now, after you've created the label, we are going to create a space with an ID and arrangement. We put it, of course, after you put a card, for the text not to touch each other, you put a little space in between. So we create a dynamic space. So scroll down a little bit, click on salon space and choose call salon space dot create space. Put it there. For ID, we are going to get this to duplicate. We can duplicate this so that it's similar. Okay, we can duplicate this because this is a different component, so that is get key +1. In the arrangement, we are going, of course, to put inside this card. So I'll just duplicate this, and then the width of the space, we really don't care. We care about the height. So the width, we can put -1 so that it's wrap content. It doesn't matter because you're not putting things side by side. So I'll click on math, choose that, put -1. And then for the height, I'll put about, I think 10. 10 is good. 10 is good so that it separates one label from the other with 10. Okay, so we've created the first label, and this label is going to hold the salon name. Remember, we have from our card, we want to put 4 items: salon name, hairstyle, appointment date and time, and extra description. So we've created the first label that will hold the salon name. So we're going to duplicate this and change the keys, the ID, so that this label should hold the appointment, the hairstyle. So this is for salon name. So let us create the one for hairstyle. So duplicate this, click on this create label, this salon label, okay? This salon label, duplicate it, and then put it, be careful, put it after the salon space and change this ID to 2. Change this ID to 2. So this label will hold the hairstyle. The first label is holding salon name. The second label is holding hairstyle. Now, let us duplicate the space so that we can have a space after. We duplicate this space, drag and put it after salon label. Now, this is now the easy part. Change this ID to 2 again. Okay, so we've put a space after the hairstyle. Now, we are also going to create a label that is going to hold the appointment date and time. Very simple. Duplicate this one, the one that is at the top here. Duplicate it and change the key here to 3. Change the key here to 3. So that this with the 3 will hold appointment date and time. We're going to see how we are going to make sure that they hold that. And then duplicate this also, space 2 to come here below so that we can have a space between appointment date and time and the one that you're going to put after. So change this to 3 as well. Okay, and then we are going to create the final label that will hold the extra description. Okay, we're going to create the final label that will hold the extra description. So duplicate that and put after and change the key to 4. We have 4 labels, so we should have labels with key +1, key +2, key +3, key +4. So I'll just scroll at the top carefully so that we discuss this a little. We have the dynamic card created, and we have the first label that is assigned, that is put in the dynamic card by here, arrangement called appointment list to get card view by ID. Okay, now after we've done that, this label will hold salon name, and then we put a space with a unique key. We now add the second label with ID 2 that will hold the hairstyle, and then we add a space between after that. Then we create the third label that will hold appointment date and time here, and then we put a space, and finally we put a label that will hold extra description, and we stop there. We don't add a space again because we are still in the card. Now, after you've done this, we are now going to set these values. We are now going to set these values to make sure that we get the key of, if it is key +1, it should be salon name. If it is key +2, it should be hairstyle. If it is key +3, appointment date / time. If it is key +4, it should be extra description. So this is how we go about it. We click on salon label again here at the block section. Click on salon label and choose call salon label.set text. After you create label, you set now the text. Okay, space, you can just create space and leave it as it is. But after you create a label, you have to set the text. So you click here and choose call salon lbl.set text. Call salon label.set text. These are our dynamic components. So after you put call salon lbl.set text, ID, we start with the first ID. If you can remember, the first ID was get key +1. So I'll just duplicate this and put here and change this to 1. It's get key plus 1. For the text you're going to call the format text method that we created, or the procedure that we created, so that it formats for us. It boldens the first section and makes the other section just the normal text. So we are calling this procedure, put here as a text section. So in the first title here, we put hairstyle, we put text here, okay? And say hairstyle, like that, hairstyle. No, actually we are starting with salon name, sorry, not hairstyle, salon name, like that. Salon name, you can put a full colon. And then for the content, we are now getting the value for key in dictionary. Of course, this is the ID that you are going to get. So we click here, get value for key in dictionary, put the content there, and then value, which key are we putting here? Now, this is where I want us to really recall and remember and go and inference our knowledge. So we come here at the appointments, make appointments. How did we call the salon name as the key? Here it is. I will just copy for accuracy reasons. I'll copy this so that, because this is the key that is in our dictionary, we have to be really accurate with this key. This is the key that we are coding. So I'll just copy and then come here and to the appointment screen and create a blank text bubble. So I'll put a blank text bubble like that, paste like that. And then in dictionary, the dictionary is the single appointment dictionary. So I'll click on variables, choose get. Because we've broken down the dictionaries, that all appointments into single dictionary and put them in single appointments dictionary. So we choose like that. So we say if call format text title salon name, get value for key salon name, exactly the way when we are creating the appointment, when we are making the appointment and saving it in the Firebase. Okay, that is done. And then for HTML here, you put true. You put true. So you click here as a logic, choose true, put it there. Fantastic. Now we've set the first label. The second label, we say the one which is key plus 2. The key plus 2 one has the appointment, not the appointment date. The first one is salon name. The second one is the hairstyle. Let's say if it is Abuja, or let's say it is dreads, or whichever hairstyle. So this is what we are going to do. We are going to duplicate this, duplicate it for ease of use, put there. And then we change this is get key plus 2. And then we are going to put hairstyle as the title. So change salon name to hairstyle, like that, hairstyle. And then let us change this. Let us make sure that we change the value for key. How did we call our hairstyle? I'll go again and inference. Hairstyle, I called it like this. I'll just copy for accuracy reasons and then come back to appointments and paste like that. And make sure, of course, this is get key plus 1. This is get key plus 2. Be as accurate as possible. What we are changing is the key and title and get value for key. We are changing 3 things. We are changing 3 things in these items, or in this set text. So I'll duplicate again. We have 2 more to go. Okay, so I'll duplicate this, and this one is actually going to be a bit different, but don't worry. So here, this one is for appointment date and time. So I'll change this key first to 3. Get key plus 3. And then for hairstyle, you're going to rename this. Instead of hairstyle, it's going to be appointment date stroke time. Appointment date stroke time. And then here, get value for key. Because we were storing appointment date and appointment time in different keys and values in dictionary, we are going to use a join. So I'll just put this one on the side a little. I'll just put it on the side, somewhere comfortable where you can easily access, somewhere like this. And then in the content, I'll click at the text and choose join, put there, and extend this 3 so that it has 3 strings. just once, just extend it once like that. Now, we are going to put here the first key. We are going to put this here, and then we are starting with appointment date. So I'll delete that and confirm. How did I call the key in the appointment date when I was saving the value like that? I'll just copy and come here, come back to the appointment screen and make sure that the value for key is appointment date. And then I'll duplicate this, put in the last section. The middle one, leave it as it is. We're going to attend to it in a short while. Now, how did we save the appointment time? Because we're saying it's appointment date, then a space, appointment time. So how did we save the appointment time? We are coming back to check again. If maybe it will help you, you can write them down so that you don't have to go back and forth. But I prefer to be accurate. So appointment time, I'll click Control C and then come back to appointments and remove that and paste. Okay, that is for appointment time. And then we are going to put a blank text bubble like that and add a space, or you can add a comma and a space so that you can have appointment date and time separated so that someone knows that it's date this and this, comma and time. So that is for get key plus 3. Now for the final one, get key plus 4. Let us not duplicate this one of get key plus 3 because it's not in the format that we are going to use. We can duplicate this one of get key plus 2 like that, and then scroll down slowly like this. You can even use this scroll bar on the side, or you can just click and drag there. Make sure that it does not disappear behind. Okay, so you can paste it, scroll down again, paste it after. We are still in the for each block. Okay, now this one is get key plus 4, change the key to plus 4, and then the title is extra description, extra description, and then value for key. Let us confirm again. How did we put in the appointments? It's extra description, Control C, and then come back to appointments and paste there, extra description. Okay, now for the final touches, okay, for the final touches, we can now put a space in the vertical arrangement after all this, so that our dynamic card, of course, it has all this content up to set text. We can now put a space so that you can have a space after the card before the next card. So how do we do that? Very simple. You click on salon space and choose salon space dot create space and put it after salon space dot create space. This is the last block. Salon space dot create space. So ID is get key plus 4. You can, because we stopped at 3 in the spaces, we stopped at creating spaces at space 3. So we can choose this, we can duplicate this, get key plus 4, put it there. The arrangement is vertical arrangement, not the appointment list again, because you're putting in the vertical arrangement. So you put in the vertical scroll arrangement. So click like that, select the last option, vertical scroll arrangement. Width, we don't care, so we put -1. We don't care about the size of the width, we put a -1. So we'll put math and then drag to the top, choose that one, say -1, and then for height, we are going to choose 15. I think 15 pixels would be very friendly. 15 pixels would be very friendly. So I'll put there 15 pixels. And we are done. So if everything runs correctly, I'm going, after this video, I'm going to see how the application is going to work generally and how it populates everything. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please reach out to us, our facilitators, either I or Mr. Badru. I wish you all an awesome time. We look forward to having you in the next session. Thank you and have an awesome time.